Guys, welcome to room number 3. A couple of differences here, as you probably noticed. Um, we got another Yashin MC100B. Now, some of you know this from the previous videos that I made, and I got to remake a good few of them. But as you can tell, a little bit of a maybe it's overkill. Maybe it is overkill. But it looks absolutely the part, doesn't it? So what happened here? Now, this is the Boston Acoustics 500L Linfield. This was at the time a flagship speaker built by Phil Jones, not to be confused with Andrew Jones, from Acoustic Energy. Proprietary drivers, aluminum mid-range cone, it's a 5 1/4, I believe. And then, of course, the infamous AMD tweeters. That's where this came from. This speaker was basically the prototype for it, the brick layer for it. An incredibly well-built speaker, actually. It has a bandpass low end. It's a 80% sealed enclosure with a small chamber on the bottom where the woofers are basically downfiring, two 6.5-inch custom woofers, actually. And it's dual ported on the rear end. So it's a very different type of design. Tri-ampable speaker with a really beautiful cabinet. Now this speaker was for Boston Acoustics actually a failure. It was a speaker that sounded extremely forward, especially in the tweeter. It was pretty hot. This speaker did spec really well, 35 hertz. Up to 35 kilohertz. This was their attempt at a high-end build speaker where cost wasn't really a factor. Now, I know knock tests don't always mean anything, but it gives you an idea of how well that is. Pretty incredible. Very inert, really well built. Beautiful drivers too, honestly. So this speaker comes with certain challenges. I've had this speaker for quite a while now, and it is a speaker that dips to 1.9 ohm, and I used to drive it with just one Yashin and an Emotiva preamp, which, God honest truth, it didn't do that well on this speaker. This speaker always has been a problem if it comes to that. 84 dB-ish. It's just a speaker that likes amplification. Now, after that, I finally gave it one last Hail Mary and bought the LS3 preamp from Audio Research, and it changed everything. The sound changed. The speaker sounded already better. The mid-range was more forward sounding. It was just overall sounding better. So I was on the right track. Then comes along an Audio Research D90, which actually I have over here. It still needs to go to the shop. It's a 5-month waiting time. I will get that one restored completely. It's a 2x90 or 2x80 watt tube amplifier, which I was stoked in getting in here. My idea was just to put one of the tubes on the low end and then just use the D90 probably on the low end because it's a more powerful amplifier, and then put this one in a biamp configuration on the top mid, and done. Unfortunately, the D90 arrived needing restoration, so I have not had the pleasure to play with that one, but I have invested money in it. So I figured, well, why not try a solid state? So the D300 Audio Research came on my path, and that was a game changer. So since 2 days, we have been playing in biamp, a passive biamp setup, having the Audio Research D300 just take care of the low end, and let the Yashin MC100B KT88 run the top cabs. And beautiful, beautiful sound. Now, us audio nerds are basically all the same, right? What if I would find another Yashin MC100B? How about tri-amping this speaker? Because this speaker, it's one of those, you don't see it often, that has tri-amp capability. I was like, why not do that? And I had to find the exact same amplifier, same colors, because there were 3 different versions of this amplifier in terms of looks. An all chromed out version with the silver bezel. Then they had one that had a, where you see the transformer covers, that was kind of a greenish, powder coated green, and then with a gold chassis. And mine are obviously black with silver. My MC13S is a chrome version, and I don't have to tell you guys, these things are a pain in the ass to clean. So usually I cover them up when I don't use them. And since 2 days now, we have been playing with tri-amping. So it's actually really easy. That amplifier runs the low end of the speakers and one amplifier on each side. These, as you noticed, are dual monos. So, when normally with a stereo power amplifier that shares the same power supply, I would let it run the same driver. So meaning if this had one power supply and it was just a normal stereo power amplifier, I would have actually ran one to run both mid-range drivers and then one to run the tweeters. This way, I don't run into many, issues in terms of imbalances, a little bit of a bias difference. Now with tubes, it's a little bit handier. You can bias them both and get them both in that same region. Not a problem. These are dual monos. Each set is basically a mono block on there. The output, I would say, realistically, in ultralinear, the spec sheet is not correct, I'm pretty sure, but I would say 30, maybe 25 watts per channel in ultralinear, and that drops down to 10, 12 watts in triode. These can be switched to pure class A, which is an interesting feature of this amplifier. Also, these amplifiers can both be used as an integrated amplifier, because when you switch it, you can use it as a normal integrated amplifier. That there is your selector and that's your volume knob. So you can volume adjust in power amp mode. It's still functional. You can still use it as a volume control. So now, one of those is running the tweeter, and one of those is running the mid-range driver, respectively, for each speaker. So, of course, do you hear a difference there? That's the question I get a lot now. I've been talking to a couple of my buddies about this, and to be honest with you, no. Tri-amping, I think, is the biggest marketing farce that's out there in audio la la land. A tweeter does not need even half of this. So we're talking about the monoblock that's driving it. It doesn't need anything like it. But is it cool? I mean, come on, guys. There is something aesthetically also pleasing that gives you a slight more bit of pleasure out of your system. And I will admit, I will be the first one to admit it. Yes, it's psychological, 100%. I will say straight up that I absolutely did not hear a difference in quality adding another Yashin MC100B. But when you see this glow, and when you see what's hanging on this system, that you at least try to make something really cool out of it, this to me is no different as having pushing another 20 horsepower out of your car. Yes, this costs money, but it does give you a certain amount of pleasure when you're sitting here and listening to a system like this. Don't mind the crooked foot. I need to put a more solid base underneath it so it can stand up easier. But yeah, there you go. Another video, guys. Almost 10 minutes. I know. Blah, 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 blah. But I thought I'd share it. It's always cool. People do ask when they see it. And eventually you would have seen this and you have questions. So there you go. A tri-amped audio research with some, I think, decent chi-fi. Man, oh man. It sounds really, really nice. Anyway, guys, I'll see you with the next video.